Sitting on? Revelio. Hi. Remember your first time in Hogwarts? Roaming through the castle with Ron and Hermione, collecting Bertie Bott's beans and chocolate frog cards? Yeah, good old times. And I asked myself, can I make a diorama that catches the spirit of the good old Harry Potter games? Well, let's find out. Let me show you my secret notes first. I solemnly swear I'm up to no good. Yeah, that's everything you need to know, you dirty muggle. Jokes aside, for a Harry Potter diorama that catches the spirit of the old games, of course we need to build a part of Hogwarts. So I designed a little diorama in FreeCAD that you can pick up yourself for free and print. It's not necessary though. You can build the whole thing on a piece of wood or cardboard, like the little muggle you are. Printing something still feels like magic to me. That's how Arthur Weasley must have felt, fascinated and confused at the same time. I designed a big empty pocket on the underside of our diorama. That's where the battery will go. But first I need to remove all the supports. They are as useful as a cursed child and belong right in the trash. I also included a secret wall. No puzzle tongue required. I decided to dedicate this project to my favorite spell from the games. And no, it's not just nostalgia. Play a modern Harry Potter game and you see what I mean.
Revelio, 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 Revelio.
Accio Primer. Let me just prime our model in black. The whole castle was designed with two different brick patterns in mind. One for the walls and one for the floor. Which means we're going to have to make some bricks with this Proxon hot wire. That specific wire gets hotter than Fleur de la Cour. And we grab a piece of XPS foam and slowly cut it away into tiny pieces. Just like what the movies did with Ron's personality. Once I got enough bricks, I put them in a marmalade jar together with some stones. Then I close the lid and give them a very good shake. That's how you get texture on your foam. These little bricks look so real, Filch might even start to clean them. Things we lose have a way of coming back to us in the end. Except that marmalade jar. Maybe putting stones into a marmalade jar wasn't as smart as I thought. And not getting into Ravenclaw wasn't the choice, it was my destiny. In the next step, I tried to make the floor as slimy as Snape's hair with some PVA glue. And then I laid down all the bricks piece by piece like a real house elf with my own magic. I just had to make sure that our secret wall still closes without touching the bricks. I cut down our existing bricks to fit the empty space, and then I continued to repeat the whole process with a different pattern on the wall. Nice, Harry, 5 points for Gryffindor. Oh, 5 points for Gryffindor again, and another 5 points! If you make mistakes, for example, if you cut a stone thicker or thinner than the other, it actually looks better in the end. After every brick has been laid down, I would normally use a hairdryer to speed up the drying process. But our foundation is a 3D printed object. If I turn on the hairdryer, we will melt the whole thing down. Ask me how I know. If you cast Lumos in the game, the gargoyle activates an invisible wall which you can walk through. Can we replicate that? Let's find out. I grabbed some blue stuff which is used to create molds, put them into my leaky cauldron together with some boiling water, stirred it like a freaking muggle I am, and then I took our secret wall and pushed it into our hot blue stuff. And I tried to make a mold as fast as I possibly can. After everything has cooled down, I removed the blue stuff again. But that wasn't so easy. Some of our foam got stuck and it left an unsettling finish. I'm not sure if that will actually work. Make sure you only mix your resin in a safe environment, like a girl's bathroom. Let it cure for a couple of days and time to remove it. Sadly, it doesn't look translucent at all. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Back to our little castle piece, I grabbed a big, heavy rock and smashed it all over the place to create some extra texture. But be careful with that, not that you take someone's eye out. And in a final step, I cut off the protruding stones. Now that's it with the bricks and stones and cutting, promise. Painting stones is one of the easiest tasks you can imagine if you've done the texture part right. So don't worry, even if you're from Hufflepuff, you can do it. I used a very warm dark brown tone as a foundation and painted the whole thing with that. Then I applied a dark brown wash that will lay down in all the recesses, let that dry and use a big makeup brush to lay down brighter brown colors. After every layer, I reduce the force I put on the brush and take a slightly lighter color. That way we create a very realistic stone without losing the warm undertone that makes Hogwarts so special. But at the end of the day, this is just a wall. Now, how do we make that a Hogwarts castle wall? Let me tell you, the most recognizable thing about Hogwarts are all the portraits hanging around. And there's an actual way to grab those files from the Models Resource website. So I prepared all the portraits and printed them on a piece of paper, together with some familiar carpets. I used some scissors to cut them all out, glued them all down on a piece of cardboard, cut them out again, and put them on our walls. I also glued down some carpets directly on the floor and painted the Lumos sign in white, before grabbing my airbrush and spraying another layer of white translucent ink and yellow contrast paint on top. The only thing that is left now are a bunch of models. Seriously, check out the models resource. Most of these models can be directly grabbed and 3D printed. Only some of them need a couple of tweaks. For example, the gargoyle's wings were way too thin, so I thickened them. He was also hollow on the bottom, so I fixed it. Harry's glasses looked more like from Cyberpunk 2077. Interesting, right? They just put a transparent picture file onto that surface in the game. I just made him some new glasses that will be actually 3D printable. Let me just quickly fix Harry's arm position. Yeah, whereas that can sometimes happen. Much more flexible though. I also made him his little wand, dropped everything into the slicer and started printing, but this time with resin. And after some washing and curing, we can finally start to paint all these models. Starting with the gargoyle. I picked the big makeup brush and slowly started to dry brush various layers of grey color. I combined that technique with stippling, where I just pushed down the brush to create some more little brittle textures, with the brightest spots on the highest areas that would be exposed to the sun and environment. Then I put on some edge highlighting on his claws, painted his eyes, added some details on his wings in terms of feathers, and some more details on his face, and then I put that all together by using a little sponge and a very dark grey, stippling all over the place. That's good enough for me. Next up, we're going to paint the chest. Problem is, the chest doesn't have any texture at all, like it's a block, with nothing on it. So, we have to do that ourselves. I added a couple layers of brown, and then I randomly painted some lines to resemble a wooden texture. I freehanded the golden parts and called it done. Next up, the star of the show. You're a miniature Harry, and a pretty damn good one. Painting Harry was quite fun. I mean, it's a low poly model, right? So the requirements aren't very high. Just make him look not like Dudley. A couple of layers on his skin, some green eyes, a little bit of dark brown for his hair, and then I finished him off with the red rims around his cloak, and I tried to paint some texture on his sweater, so it actually looks like a sweater. The golden Gryffindor sign, and some brown trousers. Does this look like Harry to you? I think he's pretty fine.
Thank you. I think I should go now.
I also printed a bunch of Birdie Box beans, which we can paint in various colors. First though, I drilled a hole into each one of them and added a piece of wire, because they are floating above the floor. Then I picked two colors and wet blended them together on each bean. Alas, earwax. For the final touch, I added some shiny acrylic medium, which will make them shiny. And I really looked forward to the last miniature of this video, Peeves, the poltergeist. I really missed him in the movies, because he's such a fun little addition to the story itself. And not including him didn't make any sense to me at all. I also really liked his in-game design. It was so colorful and bright, and he was such a dipshit. It was also the most fun miniature to paint on this video. A really cool mix of having many details on his suit and his blue ghostly face with a lot of evil characteristics. You see, that's where the trouble began. That smile. That damned smile. I put on the gargoyle and the chest next and added some green stuff word spider serum into my airbrush. Sorry Ron, no butterflies for you. At first, nothing really happened, but as you can see, little spiderwebs are floating all around the area. So I focused on some points and spiderwebs were immediately visible. With all these little details like portraits, spiderwebs, carpets, a gargoyle and a hidden chest, it actually feels like Hogwarts to me. So I think mission accomplished, somehow. But we're not done yet. Then I added Peeves the poltergeist, Harry, and all the bad reports beans. In true boilie fashion, I had to insert an LED filament. So I soldered that LED to a battery case, drilled some holes besides Harry and the gargoyle, which I should have done before gluing them down. I put the cable through that hole and connected everything with each other. Now let's have a look at the finished piece. Shout out to all of my Patreons who make these dioramas possible. And thank you for watching.